Hello, and welcome in to another fresh shave where I carve some first impression reviews off the big spinning kebab stick that is the music industry. And today, I want to start with a little thought experiment, so follow along with me. Close your eyes if it helps. Imagine, if you will, that I invite you out for dinner. I promise you I'm taking you somewhere new and exciting, but inspired by the greats. Excitedly we arrive, and I order for you because I know you're gonna love it. And when your food comes out, you're confused. It's clearly a McDonald's cheeseburger. Maybe the order of the ingredients is different on the bun, but it's clearly all the same parts and in a pretty similar combination. And you don't hate McDonald's, you actually love it. And, it's probably the biggest restaurant in the world, and you're just confused because you actually drove past one on the way here. And look, if you're following along, you probably understand how I feel about this whole trad metal revival scene. The man who took me out to dinner on this one is my lovely former co-host from Tunes TV, Connor, and normally he serves straight fire, but on seeing the name, when he recommended this, I quickly went from ooh to oh, these guys. I was already familiar with Tailgunner. I followed them for a bit a few years ago, but I jumped off when, it really felt like they were a bit too one note. But on the release of their second album, Midnight Blitz, it's a good time to jump back in and see if I was wrong about them. See if I judged too quickly. And, look, it's not a bad album. I'm going to come out and say that straight. It's not a bad album. But, in a world where we already have two active Judas Priests, we've got Judas Priest and we've got KK's Priest, I don't see the appeal of an album written by a band that's trying to remake that magic with just a fraction of the experience that's gone into it. I hate to even make this comparison because it honestly feels like a really nasty low blow, but if they didn't have upcoming shows and live footage online, I would be looking up to see if they're an AI band. Everything about them just looks very generic and painfully derivative, like it's a caricature of what 80s metal is meant to be. I've spoken in the past, in previous reviews, about how some bands, really feel authentic, like they're straight out of the time that they're trying to emulate. Thrash bands like Desecrator and Proto Men with their kind of, rock opera Queen sound. And then I compare those to others that really just feel like they're putting on a costume and trying to sound old school. And this is a good example of the latter to me. I can't listen to this and be like, yeah, these guys could have existed at the same time as Judas Priest. No way in hell these guys could have existed in the same time as Judas Priest, because their entire gimmick is built off trying to be Judas Priest. You even see it in some of their footage. They do the same stage moves. It's cosplay, is what it feels like. I will give them points for not actually having the typical painful AI written Spotify description, because when I listen to this, I'm like, they're going to say in their description that they have soaring vocals and thundering drums. Instead, their Spotify description is a quote from KK Downing from Judas Priest, hyping them up, which, admittedly, really good clout. I don't have one of those, so credit due where credit due. Musically, it's hard to talk about the album in depth because there is no depth. It's a book you can judge purely on its cover. The songwriting is fine, the production is clean, but every local scene has at least one of these bands, and then on top of that, it's probably got an actual Judas Priest cover band and an Iron Maiden cover band, and well, you may as well go see those because they are going to play the songs that you already know. Look, and I get it. Maiden and Priest are sick. I'm buying my Maiden ticket today. I've seen Priest before, and Halford just blew me away. His mic cut out, and I'm 50 meters away from stage and can still hear it, and that's how good his voice is. I understand why you'd want to emulate this, but also sometimes I feel like it's time to stop throwing back and time to move on. And you can still bring all that with you, but, innovate it. Do something new and fresh. To give it some kudos, I find it's really good background music. If you, just enjoy metal, because it's got this really nice metal sound, it's good quality, and it's got the energy to it. It's certainly bringing their energy into the mix. But then, on the other hand, that background music feel is a curse too, because, I'm listening to it, I'm like, where I could see this? I could see this in a crime show where the detectives go into a dive bar and this is playing in the background. It doesn't even have the song name in the closed caption, it just says heavy metal music playing. That's, the dichotomy of like, oh man, really good for cleaning the house, also could be background music for one scene in a TV show. The whole album comes in at 45 minutes, and honestly, multiple times during it, I just felt like turning it off. And eventually I did. I have listened to the whole album a few times through now, but it really took multiple attempts, especially on that first try. I hate throwing the word around repeatedly, but it is derivative. It's 5 songs in, and I felt like the only thing that had really changed was the lyrics. And I won't deny, there's a market for this. As long as there's going to be dive bars with people with denim jackets with patches sewn on them, there will always be a market for this. So, these guys are always going to have a stage to play to. I'm not saying, don't support these guys. They're going to do just fine without some no-name on the internet saying that I don't like their album. But for me, personally, I just can't find the value in it. So I'm going to give it a D. It does actually make me wonder, though, if there's this kind of throwback revival scene in other genres. Like, are there rap groups out there that are just purely trying to make music that sounds like MC Hammer or Young MC in 2026? If you know any of those, do drop a comment. Other than that, I've been Regan Boyce, Pink Demon. Like and subscribe, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.